Robinhood was very much so a college investment tool. I'm a grown man. We get on Weeble. Find my link in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. Only broke boys use Robinhood. Get your name, get your lane, all that stuff. Get it all the same. Weeble. Real stock investments. You feel me? How you guys doing? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, and I want to talk about something. You guys know I'm a big fan of the stock market. The stock market is legalized gambling for rich people. And you don't have to be absurdly rich. You could be a hundredaire like me. No. I'm a thousandaire. Clap it. Let's put some respect on my shit. I'm a thousandaire. You don't have to say if you're on the high or low end. No one ever asks if you're a millionaire, if you're on the high or low end on each of those. Don't feel the need to talk about something that you weren't asked about. Strong silent type, it's a good look on everybody. It's a good look on everybody. But there's no denying it, and I'll be the first to explain. With all the errors and flaws that the book Rich Dad Poor Dad had, after the doctor who taught me how to invest in stock gave me 150 of his own money and told me he will let me pay him back once I make that money back, and I made it back in 2 weeks basically, and gave him his money back. He then told me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and even though I don't agree with the takes of all of the books, one thing for sure is assets versus liability and spending within your expenses. Having expenditures that lower your expenses make you wealthy, keep you rich, keep you above the game. And as a person who used my stock investments to survive at one point in my life for 3 years, 3 years when I was making well below what I needed to live and survive when I was living in Toronto, it makes me no qualm to say that if you're not invested, you're just, what are you doing? Like, you're living harder, and that's not smart. That's just not smart. So we have to make a conscious effort. There goes my Weeble link, little plug. Get yourself some free stocks. We have to figure out how to use these markets, because that's how money is really gained. It outperforms the 401k. It outperforms most high yield saving accounts. And if you follow the S&P 500, you'll constantly at least be up a minimum of 13% on the stock market. There's no easy way around it. I'm a dividend investor, so that means I only invest in stocks that pay me quarterly, monthly, weekly. That's what I like. There's TGIF, shout out to them. But it's more important for you to understand how these companies, specifically the brokerage, internalize their own profit. There are some companies that only make money when you make money, or when there's an expenditure that increases their money, right? There are other companies out there that literally use you to make money. What do I mean? Well, they take your inputted data for what you're buying and sell that at a cost benefit to competitors. Morgan Stanley is one of the biggest investors in Robinhood. And back when Roaring Kitty came out with his expose on how to beat the stock market, basically using AMC and GameStop, he exposed them for the rightful crybabies that they are. So much so that they made a movie about it. The fact that he's alive, clap it up, because they've killed my heroes for less. But being able to beat the stock market is like beating the house in Vegas. It's just not allowed. There's no rules against it, but it's just not allowed. But there's a growing issue now, because when the stock market became gamified, it created room, space, and opportunity for a culture to take part in it that has always been on the underbelly, but is now coming to the surface, which is gambling. And with gambling comes certain levels of addiction, because the golden rule in the stock market is don't invest anything you're not willing to lose. This rule also carries on to gambling, but there is no gamified system. There is no bells and whistles. There is no shiny new button for you to press when you're in the stock market. It's just an analytical risk you're taking. But now they've started to implement those things that would drive someone to push the limits, and even making contracts available for people to gamble on the election. Yeah, that's right. You can probably find a bunch of contracts out there right now where you can gamble on who's going to win this year's election. And with this comes a lot more opportunity for people to start doing other forms of gambling, like what team's going to win the Major League Series, what team is going to win the NBA championship, so on and so forth. And with this new element being added into a stock market livelihood, we thought the world was grim when people were literally buying stocks based on water and clean air. This is truly going to push it over the limit, because gambling has become readily available now and it's become appropriate. Pete Rose, or what's the name of the dude from the baseball world who gambled and lost everything? He's literally, if he's alive, I don't think he's alive anymore. He's rolling in his grave right now, because on the same airways where he used to play, they are now promoting gambling sites right there in the intersections of commercial TV commercials. So it's kind of maddening. Pete Rose, okay, I was right. It's kind of maddening to see this hypocrisy rise to an occasion, because there are players who get banned. A player from the NBA got banned for gambling, and it's just, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't they? You've made it readily available, and you've made it seem and you've normalized it. So this is a truly fascinating thing that I wanted to cover. I'm not coming at this from an expert state of mind. I'm coming from this as a person who's concerned about how liberal we've become with the word gambling, right? That's becoming an issue. Let's dive into it. Robinhood admits it's just a gambling app. U.S. citizens can gamble on the upcoming election on Robinhood. The financial nimbleness app announced Robinhood had termed this unlocking a new asset class that democratizes access to events as they unfold. Let's pause. I would like to reflect on this incredible phrase about an asset class that democratizes access to events as they unfold. See, I thought we all had access to events of the election because we all exist in reality and can find out about them. But apparently, if we can't gamble on an event, it is happening. This is a fascinating vision. So that's incredible. So they're basically man, the underlining tones of this sentence is crazy. We're giving you access to the ability to democratize an event. Could you imagine that there's a group of people out there who are gambling on the election but aren't even fucking registered to vote? Oh, we are fucking cooked. It's over. It's over. Could you imagine gambling on an election you're not even voting in? And I would like to hear more about it. No one bet on my birth, for instance, and thus there is no assets class relating to my existence. So am I real? I'm kidding, obviously. Whoever wrote this is just not very good at sentences. Hey, yo, who wrote this? This person got a little spice. Who the fuck wrote Elizabeth? No, I want to get down to the heart of the matter here, which is which is signaled by the phrase democratize access. This phrase sits right next to financial inclusion in the lexicon of people who are trying to take your money. Democratize access is one of the ways you can describe opening a betting market, but I don't think it is the most accurate one. Here's what Robinhood lets users do. Starting today, if you believe Kamala Harris or Donald Trump will win the presidential election, you can purchase an event contract. You can trade these contracts for real money. They are a kind of derivative contract. Robinhood is an exciting new investment opportunity. Can after commodities and futures and trading commissions lost a lawsuit against the platform Kalishi that offers political event contracts that in that case is being appealed but won't be decided before the current election. So someone's already doing this. And they sued Robinhood for the ability to do this, but they've put it into appeal. So they said, fuck it. Since it won't matter by the time the court case happens, like if you needed a bigger red flag to figure out if something was bad, they've been sued for it, and they said, fuck it, we're still gonna do it because before the decision comes down, we would have A, made all the money we wanted to make, and B, what they gonna do? What they gonna say? Election's over. We'll settle out of court with all the money that we made from fees. Look, I'm aware that a lot of election markets are available because groups of people have decided the framework of gambling is useful everywhere else. Their giving reasoning is that it helps with figuring out events probability. I strongly suspect actual reason is just that they expand the field of shit to bet on. This is absolutely right. Elizabeth ain't missed yet. Clap it up. Elizabeth ain't missed one beat yet. Some even go as far as to write whole books justifying that their gambling habits as a superior understanding of statistics. We all know that person. I would have hit if all my late. We all know that when we all work with someone or have a friend in our friend group that is literally betting on parlays that make no sense. I've never seen more men involved with women's sports than when they attach a final leg parlay to a WNBA or a women's sport. They even have a softball one now and a women's soccer one. Some even go as far as to write whole books about it. Others wind up in jail for gambling with other people's money, continuing to bet on the winning as if they have the appeal. Damn. Anyway, what's really funny about the election market is that they can skew easily. For instance, Polymarket has admitted that the single French bettor is responsible for an erroneous bet for that Donald Trump will win. So while the polls show that the candidate is close to the race, Poly placed Trump's odds of winning at 62%. After betting markets accurate? Well, no, not always. So basically they're saying one French dude is accounting for basically all of the bets for Trump to win in the poly market at 62%. But let's be real, all of Robinhood's for a minute. Let's be real about Robinhood for about a minute. Robinhood is a brokerage for fun gambling on meme stocks and memes cryptocurrencies. Bloomberg's Matt Levy noted back in 2021, quick tour of Robinhood most recent quarterly earnings report shows that an awful lot of revenue growth is attributed to crypto trading. So Robinhood, me personally, the reason why I started leaving Robinhood, I left Robinhood was after they sold the users out for the bigger companies during that AMC GameStop. But moreover, a lot of the dividend stocks that I invested in started leaving Robinhood. They started delisting on Robinhood, so I had to leave. At that time, I believe I had 33 dividend stocks, and it dropped down to 11. So more than half, right? So I just left. I'm old enough to remember the period when Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenet went around at straight face insisting Robinhood was just a good way to introduce people to financial markets, as though E-Trade and before that investing clubs didn't already exist. I kind of push back on this a little bit because even E-Trade wasn't the thing that made Robinhood so great was that it became the UI of it. the UI was so welcoming and easy to maneuver. Robinhood is ups and downs, at least when it comes to dealing with the interface and the actual knowledge-based information. I can remember even on the earliest days of the apps, learning what an option was, learning what a covered option was, learning what a two-way option was, or learning how to make a put cover or cover call put. Like all of those things, like delta, all of those things, when it came to that, Robinhood had systematic information on it that wasn't like, oh, you click on it and it takes you to another page. This was all in app. So like, I have to give his kudos there. While the CEO might not have had good intentions, for the most part in the beginning, they had everything you needed in that front page. This was obviously a lie. If you look at it, its revenue model, Robinhood makes money every time a user trades. More frequently a user trades, the more likely you are to lose money, basically. I don't think anyone imagines investors building up a long-term wealth by gambling on presidential elections. Certainly, it's not the kind of thing that goes into a prudent retirement account. I don't think, though, that it is just the beginning of the contracts you'll be able to gamble on with Robinhood, and those may prove to be better. Those may prove to be even more effective at generating revenue than crypto. I do see this. I do see this being the case. There's a lot that goes in this. It's a very fine line between gambling and stock investment. They both are acquired in reasonable risk and understanding of it. But we know of people that literally can't stop the descent of modern day sports fan. Like there are people who are just your run of the mill Joes who watch a little bit of football and are out here putting $600 bets on whether the Commanders of the Washington are going to beat the Chicago Bears. Two dog water ass teams with no consistency or any delta for you to base your information on, and you just out here betting $600 on the most random players because you won your fantasy league, so you think you're the next Don Juan, right? Hey bro, trust me, it's the Bears' year. Exactly. Like, yeah, miracle catch or not, it's the Bears' year. We got it. We had the first round draft pick. Why wouldn't we win every game? And I think there's a part of me that's like kind of been closed mind to this because I did something that a lot of people who don't like, the amount of people I know that sports gamble and haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad is like proof of why things are happening, right? Like, I don't need, like, whenever someone's telling me like, oh, Hero, you should get into sports gambling since you're so good at stocks. And I tell people I'm good at stocks because I understand acquired risk. I don't acquire unnecessary risk, right? I don't try to I don't try and enrich myself. I just try and ride the waves of the system. In fact, from a stock perspective and investing perspective, I'm considered to be one of the most boring investors, one of the safest boring investors. Dividend. I'm guaranteed, as long as that company doesn't go underwater today, I'm making money tomorrow. All right? I've ridden a wave for a company to go all the way down to zero. And when I did my cost analysis for the differential, I still came out 33% above water. And that's the great thing about dividends, because you get paid out so often, you can't accumulate unnecessary losses. Swing traders are probably the most common. Day traders are the most, it's not frugal, it's volatile, right? But there is a serious issue that is going on here. And the one thing that I don't think anyone's talking about as far as this election is concerned is, will Robinhood be required to pay out the winner or the losers, the winner in this situation, if there's a concerted effort, right? If there's a concerted effort to say that the election was faulty in some way or fashion. Like, what happens if Trump loses and then he decides to string this out in court for 6 months. What happens to that money? Like, do they get to do what? Who declares the winner in this situation? And will Robinhood be required to pay out those winners or losers if there's a discrepancy in the count? Like, let's just take it back to last year, right? There was a discrepancy in the count last time. And even though he sent all 600 of his cases to court, and even to this day, he's still saying, I didn't lose the election. If the owner of this company says, well, the former president said he didn't lose, and I believe he didn't lose, will the company have to pay? Like, does that go to court now? So, like, this is not, like, anyone who's betting on this is not financial advice by no means. For the love of everything that's good, do not do this. I'm gonna come. But the moment someone of stature calls into question the election, specifically a company that's not in America, who dictates how you will get paid? Like this, there's too many things that can go wrong here. And the FTC is going, Lena Khan is it the FTC? Who's in charge of the securities? So the SEC? Securities and Economic Commission, whoever's in charge of this, after the election, they're coming for you. Robinhood is definitely, like, I know they're already prepared to pay Kelsey, the Classy, for their injunction here, but they are coming for you, because what's to stop someone from saying, well, the election wasn't, we don't really know who won the election because they're not being honest. And now I don't get my money. No, people are gonna fight. So I'm super curious to know what you guys think about that. Like, share, subscribe. This is not financial advice, but if I was a betting man, I put my money on Kamala. Just saying. But you won't see that money. This isn't political advice. This is voter advice. I put my money on Kamala. Mama La Harris.